Everyone. A very good evening to everyone present here. It's a truly matter of great pride and joy for me to welcome you all to the special occasion. I would like to extend my warm greeting to our Honorable Senior Professor Ajay Kumar Singh Sir, respected Director Professor Dr. Mahesh Sarma Sir, respected Dhyan P.S. Chauhan Sir, our esteemed guest speaker, respected faculty member and fellow students, Al Deepika Adhikari of BCA third semester, I feel extremely privileged to address you all at the 44th online interaction session hosted by Delhi School of Professional Studies and Research, an institution well known for its unwavering commitment and to academic distinguish and nutrition leadership. Today's session adds another chapter to our ongoing journey of learning and developing. It's an opportunity for each of us to engage in a meaningful dialogue, gain valuable knowledge, and grow into well-rounded individual, both personal and professional. At DSPSR, we deeply welcome or value experience that go beyond text books. We believe in preparing students for the real world by exposing them to practical industry relevant learning. This session concerned or centered on the theme of leadership development is a fine example of how we aim to bridge academic theory with corporate reality. It's with great pleasure that we welcome Mr. Ishaan Shetty sir, who join us today as our respected session speaker. We are equally pleased to have Professor Rajnikant Verma sir as the distinguished moderator of this session. We sincerely thank both of you for being here and for your willingness to share your insight and experience with us. We welcome you both, sir. To commence this session on an auspicious note, let us now take part in a symbolic ritual, the lighting of the virtual lamp. This act represents the removal of darkness and ushering in wisdom and enlightenment. May this flame of knowledge guide us towards clarity, confidence, and leadership in days ahead. With this, I would like now Arun sir to kindly play the virtual lamp video now. Thank you, sir. It's given me an immense pleasure to welcome to the esteemed speaker today's session, where we are joining by truly dynamic and inspiring professional whose journey embodies the perfect blend of strategies, technology, and innovation and leadership. Dr. Ishaan Shetty, sir, currently serving as the Associated Vice President Digital Business at Motilal Oswal Financial Service. Ishan sir thrives in the ever-evolving world of finance where data meets decision making and strategies meet execution. At Motilal Oswal, he is leading effort to transfer digital customer acquisition strengthen content marketing and inbound strategies and evaluate UI UX design for our higher engagements and convention. His forward thinking approach is helping drive an high intent user into the ecosystem while unlocking new and innovative acquisition channels, both online and offline. Before this, Ishan Shetty sir held a pivot role in Reliance Security where he lead multiple products line across broking, research, fintech, and non-banking, new banking. while also working closely with the family office of ADA Group, driving close vertical study initiatives. His entrepreneurial spirit led him co-founding Finbits India, where he forgot partnership with leading names like ICICI Securities, Paytm Money, Angel Broking, and Group, delivering NIMS University Student Council and having held multiple leadership positions in organizations like Social Conclave, the Emerging Tech Foundation, and Colloquium at NMIMS MPSTMA for contributing to electrical vehicle R&D at Hyundai Motors India to empower students with digital micro degrees and emerging technologies. Ishaan Shetty Sir generally is a technology testimony to his multi-phase skill set and visionary thinking. We are truly honored to have him here with us today. Let's give a warm virtual or in-person welcome to Mr. Ishaan Shetty Sir. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Deepika. I think so much introduction has happened. I somewhere feel that I've, I think, worked for more than 40 years of experience. So it was very elaborately explained. It's more than an honor to being here, yeah, because it's, I think, I've read about the college. I think even Nishita was also introducing me about what all work you all do. I think it's quite impressive with how things have evolved with your colleges. Where I saw your social media session, I think most every day you're having these leadership sessions. It might be more than um, enriching for you all to get any data insights from different industries and also sectors that are coming from. So yeah, it's more than being glad to be part of this session.
It's with great honor and deep appreciation that I am welcome to today's distinguished moderator moderator of today's session. We are truly privileged to be joined by a highly respected academic and erudite scholar and a visionary leader in the field of commerce and education. Professor Rajnikant Verma Sir, currently serving as a professor in the Department of Commerce at Zakir Hussain Delhi College, Evening University of Delhi, with over 24 years of rich academic and professional experience. Professor Rajnikant Verma Sir stands as a privilege in the academic fraternity. Throughout his career, he had held several prestigious positions. Notable, he served as a secretary of Indian Commerce Association, Delhi NCR chapter 2017 to 2022. At present, he is joint secretary of Indian Accounting Association, Delhi chapter as well as an executive member at both the national and regional of Indian Commerce Association and Indian Accounting Association. His contributions are not limited to academic alone. Professor Rajnikant Verma sir also served on advisory board of Lingya Lalita Devi Institution Management and Science and as a governing body member of Kendra Vidyalaya Delhi, contributed to institutional development and quality enhancement in education. Professor Rajnikant Sir holds an inspirational and impressive academic background, having completed his PhD from the Department of Commerce, Delhi School of Economics, and his earlier degrees BCom Honors, MCom, and MPhil MPH from University of Delhi. In addition, He holds a law degree LLB from Campus Law Center, University of Delhi, and has also earned an O-level certificate in computer application from DOE ACC Society, along with several other technical certificates. A prolific and guide, Professor Rajnikant Verma Sir has authored 18 books in domains such as attitudinal change, corporate society development, HRM, cyber laws, and business laws, and has supervised multiple PhD scholars from the University of Delhi. He has presented over 80 research papers at national and international platforms and has more than 30 research publications to his credit in esteemed journal and edit volumes. His leadership in organizing 25 plus academic events and 20 plus educational visits reflect his unwavering commitment to enriching the academic ecosystem with his dynamic blend of social scholarship, leadership, and community service. Professor Rajnikant Verma Sir continue to inspire generation of student research faculty alike. It's truly our privilege to have him with us. We warmly welcome you, sir. Now we'd like to hand over this to Professor Rajnikant Verma, sir.
Thank you, Deepika. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Deepika. Although this long introduction was not required as I am moderator only. And I welcome Professor BP Singh sir, Professor Ajay Kumar Shank sir, faculty members, the other students, and the very young and dynamic resource person as as a session speaker also, Mr. Ishaan Shetty, who is Associate Vice President Digital Business at Motilal Oswal Financial Service. So I welcome you, Ishaan Shetty ji.
Thank you so much,
in
sir.
this session.
Yeah.
We will be having this interactive session for 40 to 45 minutes. So we will continue with the 35 minutes with some questions, and then for last 10 minutes we will be having some query sessions of the audience.
That's fine. Yeah.
So I have gone through the profile of yours, and I'm very happy as well as pleased that you are also product of NMIMS Mumbai and holding various positions and having various leadership skills at the different institutions and in the different capacity. So, Mr. Ishaan, if I start with the question, since you have worked across established financial institutions and fintech startups, how do you approach building digital acquisition strategies in such contrasting environments? What metrics do you patronize when measuring digital success?
Okay, so thank you so much. Actually, it's a question. This is a question I think that splits across multiple areas of me being working as well, right? So I just giving a little background more. It's like I've been working for both the online and the offline part because like India is a very larger demographic for us to serve completely online or completely offline. So we have to always be hand in hand in both of these strategies. So fintech is broadly very how we are serving people online, but most of the businesses that even for us, like even on Motilal Oswal, we have most of our presence even in the offline mode, right? So that's how we want to scale things as well on both sides of the world, right? For fintech, specifically answering your question, say fintech is mostly whenever you're trying to build any strategy, it needs to you need to test anything very fast. And even if you're failing, it's okay, but then you need to make sure that you fail also fast. You fail faster in that because in the era of maybe giving an example of even broking, everything is about speed, right? And obviously getting it right, being in the same time and same place. But for us, it's any of the fintech that you say, that you talk about when demonetization happened, how Paytm leveraged that to get into their UPI payments, or something like how Zero that did in the similar way of discount broking. these are the disruptive things that happen. So we need to make sure that the speed is something which is leverageable. And also, the major battle that comes in whenever you're dealing with fintechs is that the stakeholder alignment, because there are people at the cap table who are from maybe different sources of background, and they're coming from alignment which not be there because of the age gap difference or the experience gap. So we need to understand that also, so that all of them on the same page when you're taking something as a strategy. Because if they are not on the same page, then most likely or not things are going to fail. Talking about the matrix, I think that differs a lot for most of the apps. Currently, if you're taking about how our digital broking happens, when I'm talking broking, I'm talking about stock broking. We might see maybe from a sign up when we are getting up a lead to someone getting into having the first trade being done, or maybe to see how are the heat maps being used, or maybe even how active are they for the last for D7, that is the first 7 days from the demat account opening, or maybe how much they have traded from T minus to 12 of months. So that's how they're an active client for us, or they're a dormant client for us. And then maybe retargeting based on the revenue per client or something of that sort. So I think that varies. This I spoke especially for our digital broking. But if you're talking about any other fintech, then the matrix would be completely different. So yeah, because most of the things when you're talking about most of the fintech, you have to talk about any lead funnel velocity that comes into picture. Because when the client is moving from one stage to another, the funnel is different for most of the companies, right? So that's how we need to track. It's more and more company specific than a sector specific question.
Okay, thank you, Ishaan. Uh, you are working in Motilal Oswal and having leading efforts to transform digital customer acquisition, and right now you are strengthening the content marketing and inbound strategy. My question is that you are focusing on improving UI and UX and content marketing to attract high intent users. So, how do you identify what truly engages users in the crowded digital finance space?
So see, when you're talking about content right now, again, this is a question that, so when you're talking, see, the best way to understand how well or bad your product is to talk to the customers, right? Because we might make the best product for us, but if that product is best in sitting in the four walls and it's not being sold outside, then it doesn't really make sense, and the product will not be able to sell by itself. Content marketing is something which has picked up pace after COVID, or during COVID rather. People were more happy to dance on the TikTok and Instagram reels than having to build products, and that's how content started to scale. So similar kind of strategies are now being used not only actually in the broking space, but across sectors. Like even if you see, there are resale car sellers who are roping in Gen Zs and having them to make reels for them. Like that's some kind of content marketing. And content marketing also, it's split across two segments of, one is a short form video and second is a long form video. So short form videos will lie across your YouTube, your Instagram, and other things which serve and push more of the short form. And then the long form videos, I think, work best when you're doing these 15 to 20 minutes podcasts or something, or even in the even on Spotify. So then audio and video, something which works very well. So when you're talking especially about UI UX for us, most of the content when I was talking about customers is that we need to firstly understand to bucket any customer before coming into picture, right? Before they become your customer, from the journey that they take from being a prospect to having a question mark in their head to becoming a customer, there's a huge journey that they have to follow. So we first have a target persona, that's like what we called as an ICP, that's been made, ideal customer profile, based on the age they come from, the demographic they come from. Maybe, so suppose if I'm serving someone from the north of India, I would serve them something different than I'm talking someone from the west part of the country, right? So maybe I'll tailor something more towards their culture and talk something more specific for them. So that's how our journeys are also being built, right? For the UI UX part that you mentioned. So most of the journeys are made in an A/B testing format. So even the communications that are being sent exclusively are more and more tailor made for these people.
Okay, Ishan, you have so many leading positions, and you have worked in various capacity as a leader, right from NMIMS in University Students Council, and social organization like Social Conclave, the Emerging Tech Foundations. I have some questions related to this leadership and innovations. Like as a leader, who has driven innovation both in corporate and startup ecosystem? What advice would you give to young professionals looking to cultivate an entrepreneurial mindset with large organizations?
See, I somewhere feel that there is a lot of maybe a knowledge gap that comes. And I think knowledge gap is not the right word, but it is about maybe the culture gap that comes when you're talking about building a startup and building or being part of a corporate, right? Because every corporate was once a startup, and they have evolved from that. The how their culture has evolved, the how their organization handbooks have evolved, how the human resources have evolved. So everything I think starts as a small company. Startup is, I think, just a word that's been doing the rounds in last 1.5 decade, right? Otherwise it was someone that I'm doing some business, and that's how it evolved into being a corporate, right? So I don't think it's different for me to understand, because I started my own company Finbits India in when it was exact date was like in 2020 on 17th of March. So that was during COVID, and that was when I was in college too. So the whole difference is that firstly, to not just make presentations, even when you are going to maybe doing internships, or maybe I think if you'll have any technical internships that's part of the program of your curriculum, or even as your first job, try not to be stuck to only making presentations or spreadsheets, because that you'll always be on the much more execution part. Like try to be more and more involved with the higher level discussions. And the first question was about strategic inputs, right? So start giving those things as well, because if you like really bother about what color your font is or what size of your header should be, I think then your mind is much more energized and has a lot of more energy at the start of the career, at least the first 5 years. So make sure that maybe you are getting much more exposure at that time, and always learn to like pitch yourself much more strongly, right? If you are part of a group who's an average age of 22, 23, or maybe even 18 or 19, and if you're entering into corporate right now, try to be a standout from there. Because see, at the end of the day, and how the job market is moving forward, I think it's going to be the survival of the fittest. And if you are not part of that segment of being the best amongst the people that you are in, then I think you will just be an outlier, and that too at the lower end of the spectrum. So whenever some things of this, try to put yourself first, and don't think about maybe just working 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 or something of that. Try to make sure that you make use of all the 7 days of your week, and don't think that you're working for someone if you're working in a corporate, right? So that's more, it's about building credibility with these small wins, because and then you can worry about the larger wins of your CDC and the position. I think that's something that you should not take care of right now. Yeah, was I
Sir,
audible?
you are muted.
Okay, sorry. So I think your sharing of all these information must be very motivational to our young generation. I have like one query, that how did your time as a student leader and co-founder of Finwit India shape your leadership style? And are there any defining moments that help you to grow as a decision maker?
I think so. When I was leading the president of NMMS University's council, it was so. I think at that time we had 8 campuses right across India, and around 17,000 students were directly, indirectly. Like I was responsible for 17,000 students for that 1 year's time. So majorly, it's about the budget, right? So maybe if you're talking to, I was 21 at that time when I was leading this university, and there are people from all age categories, because MBA is, there are people at the even the age of 27, and they become part of your council. So majorly it is about how you're doing objection handling with them, how you are putting forward your points between them, right? And being part that I was from a mechanical engineering background, so for me to handle my academics, my even my student council as a leading body, and even my startup was a little bit challenging. But that's what I never saw where the hands of the clock were at that time, right? Because it was like you get up, you go to college, you do your work, you finish your academics, and you build your startup while you are in part of it. And most of my fourth year, the first half of my fourth year went in the COVID, right? So I had much more time at my hand. I saved time in traveling, so that was used for me to maybe moving more into building my startup and meeting new clients, like prospect clients. So that was more part of it, of how I used to utilize my journey. And also when I was talking to leaders across, like I used to learn from students, because as a student leader, and even when you are part of any startup, irrespective of what position you are in a startup, at the helm of it or at the most bottom level, you have to talk to people around you, because that's how you start building. You understand what the problems are within your system, and when you're leading something which is more in a digital way, I think the best people like to talk to, apart from your customers, will be your team, because they will give you the best litmus test out there. So yeah, that's about it.
So I think that was a great achievement for you, being a president of this NMIMS and University Student Council and handling 17 institutions at the same time. So moving further, some question I want to put up from your product and technology area, that emerging technology basically that has become a most disruptive for the digital finance and broking industry in the next 3 to 5 years. So what emerging technology like artificial intelligence, blockchain, data analysis, do you believe will be the most disruptive for the digital finance and broking industry in this next 3 to 5 years?
So I think from all the sessions that you have had, everyone, I can without even attending, everyone would have said that AI is going to be the next big thing, right? Like, and people are going to be like, it's people are getting scared about how secure their jobs are or something of that sort. But I think you need to learn about these emerging tech before they start, start eating you up, right? So it's not about just being or reading about AI or any other technologies that you mentioned, because most of these technologies were already existing even 7 to 8 years back, right? The being giving a disclaimer also about maybe even crypto, like we were not able to speak on it because we are part of the under the gambit of compliance. But even that was existing a long time back, and that was a part of an blockchain as a system, right? So all these technologies already existed. Artificial intelligence, I think the first time I heard was in 2014 or 15, if I'm not wrong. So because those were also the times when people had started implementing it in the healthcare space. Now I think in the last 3 years, when after the LLMs became more famous, you had the use of ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, DeepSeek, and all those LLMs which became part of our daily life. That's when we became more and more used to it and started using it, right? So as it became more and more jargon free is when we started to use it further. So there are a lot of technologies right now also, like maybe you or maybe just want to take the note of it, that maybe use Hugging Face as a technology resource platform for y'all. So you get an understanding about anything that's happening in AI, and that's actually, like, we've been in session for the last 30 minutes, even what's happened from 6 o'clock to 6:30, any new models which have been launched, any MCP or an retrieval agent is being launched, you get to know about it. Just make sure that you're up to date. Coming to it, I think it's more on how it's going to disrupt in the next few years is going to be advisory for us, right? So calling the calling part of it, like you might be getting a lot of calls from insurance agents, and I think most of it you might have read about something in Zomato as well. So most of the customer service calls have been shifted to an AI bot. So the first handling of a customer happens from an AI, and then secondly it goes to a sales agent. Why? Because we are saving seat costs. Secondly, we are saving on the user for the effort per user in handling this customer. So that's one thing that helps the company also save on the cost. But again, now this is very difficult. I think it's easy to be said, also difficult, because a lot of people have rolled AI and also rolled it back immediately for their platform. And the best example was something which happened just yesterday in Zomato, when their CEO only commented about it, like, it's difficult to get a hand of a real agent when you're talking to the customer service platform. So that's one thing, like, you might see something which does well now, maybe not doing something good later. But apart from that, see, in our digital broking space, it's always going to be difficult to implement newer technologies if it is only if we are in sync with and thinking about the security of the customer is when we start thinking of implementing it. Because again, we are in a very regulated system, and for us, when you're handling someone's trust, So it's about someone handling someone's money, and that's someone's trust as well. So we don't want to play with it of having a technology which might have any loopholes, right? So we, before even rolling anything out, we get an understanding, we do an MVP, we then do a pilot, and then we scale, we have a feedback loop, and then we take the version second out. So we don't want to do it as an exclusively directly.
So, Mr. Ishaan, I think you have played a very pivotal role in Reliance Equities, where you have already led the multiple product line across broking, research, fintech, and neo banking. So, I just want to know that you have led multiple product lines at Reliance Equities. So, can you walk us through the life cycle of developing a successful digital product in the finance sector?
Okay, so most of it actually I explained in the previous question, so I'll just like expand on it more, right? So when you are talking about building any product, right, you first take a pen and paper, you understand what the problem statement is, right? If I am not able to solve something for the customer, or am I solving something for my own KPI or my own KRA, right? If it is solving for the customer, and there are a lot of people who are saying that the customers will actually love this product, is when you start brainstorming it. And obviously the first step comes when you're sitting with yourself, your brain, and understanding of what needs to be served, and then to talk to your colleagues in your own team. If you get a good thumbs up from all of them, you start pitching it to your superior and your boss. And that's how when the product cycle also evolves. After that, there's a stage where you start making the content copies, or the communications that needs to go around with all of these products, right? How, in what font will you talking to the customer? There's a psychology that goes behind it. Which colors will suit the customer? Obviously, with regards to your brand guideline, or you're making a completely different product per se. Now, after that, it's more about how the design happens. Now, design is something I think most of the fintechs have like achieved a good scale in. So because if you don't have a unique design, then the brand recall value starts diminishing, and then you might not even want to remember a brand. If you see, all of the quick commerce are having a very distinguished color. You see their t-shirts that they wear, the riders, the t-shirts that they wear is very distinctive, right? So the brand is very important of what colors you're adding. After that, you take it to the tech team to start building the product. You make it on a Figma screen first. You start coding the product, and then you launch it. Obviously, after building it, you first do it for pilot for a few users as a sample test that we do. And with that being said, if it is a success, we start. Obviously, there'll be a lot of bugs that come in the first round. Then we will give it to a different cohort for them to try it. We might try it maybe at the age of 18 to 25, then maybe implement it even at 50 to 60 as well, because if it suits both the cohorts. If it does well, we do some sort of an NPS. We understand any problems which exist, and if there is no problems, which is very rare, if there's no problem, then we ship the product out to all the users. We do online communication to them that hey, we have rolled out this feature, and this is things will something which will benefit. And then later on is that we start launching it to all the customers. So that's majorly of how we try to scale it with the product line.
Okay. Ishaan, I think you have worked so many like in the area of customer experience and financial literacy, and that we have come to know through your speakers' profiles. So you have focused on enhancing financial literacy and simplifying complex finance for users. So my question is, how can digital perform platforms better serve first-time investors and undeserved segments of the population?
Okay, so that's a good question, because see, again, our India is like, if you see the length and breadth, we have so many different languages. We have so many different ways of communicating. Yet we see that the mobile penetration is not that high. So what I tried to did with my own startup CSR program was also trying to go to tier three, tier two, and tier three cities to make sure that we have these small financial literacy camps. So we had an 8-week program which was like laid out in a very systematic manner, in a systematic and progressive manner. So that the first step is to talk about the basics of finance, personal finance, of how to save money, how to invest, how to write a blank check or something of that sort, to making them understand about the different asset classes which are there, like a SIP, a mutual fund, or like investing into an FD, as basic as that as well. right? So that's one thing which is very important. The problem with the financial sector, which has been always persistent, is that we are filled with a lot of jargon. So you read any financial statement that comes up. Now this is the quarter one results. The season is on. So we might see that a lot of people are coming in and giving their phone calls, and the companies are coming and talking about how the quarter has been and giving guidance for the coming future. But again, if I am someone from a tier three city, I might not even understand if he's saying me to buy or sell a stock, right? I don't understand the guidance. So that's how when the brokers, the digital brokers, the people who are in between, they come into the picture and they start maybe making it in a bits and pieces format, trying to de-jargonize it and maybe add storytelling as a layer. Because if we are able to help the stimulate investing before actual money is involved, is when we start knowing that the nudges which we're doing for the customers, for the leads, are helping them become customers, because they start thinking that, hey, this brand is maybe working for our benefit and rather than for them to earn money. So I think that's when it's better for the company as well as the customer as an end user.
Okay, Ishaan, I think your All India rank was 124th in BITS Pilani scholarship exam.
Yeah.
So we have a very young mindset here. So I just want to have few queries related to these young professional students. So I think your answer will help them in shaping their careers. So from being a top performer in the BITS Pilani scholarship exam to now leading digital business at a top financial firm, what has been your biggest learning, and what would you tell your 21-year-old age self?
See, I think you mentioned about a rank and you mentioned about leading firm. I think I would never even look at it, because coming from, as when I'm looking at it as a student, I might not even think of like, I would bet rather on my skills rather than being part of any extinguished organization or chasing any job title. Because with that being said, it's more about how you're learning and unlearning together, right? Because things
Okay.
are moving so fast right now, and maybe what the scholarship that I got might not even make sense for me right now, because that was just more on a monetary level, right? And if you ended up, I didn't even end up going to that college right now. So it's more for me is that I want to adapt to, or for anyone to adapt to these domains very quickly, right? Fintech was something which didn't exist a decade before this, and no company or no person will see success which will grow linearly. It's always going to pivot in a way that we might have never imagined. So maybe taking a month at a time, day at a time, is very small to say, because you're more busy in your day-to-day activities. But taking a month at a time, do maybe think about doing 2 courses a year, or maybe thinking that in 5 years' time I will have this certification next to my name, I'll have this degree next to me, is more important. And I think the best part to know is, like, you should never underestimate what your USP will be. If you feel that designing is something that you're good at, please pursue it. Don't think of it that maybe doing a shorter degree would will be a better option for you. But if something interests you, then there's always so many mini courses which are available online, and the pricing is also in such a way that it's very affordable. Udemy, Coursera, you can apply for these financial waivers as well. YouTube is like a free platform; anyone can literally just
Yes.
type in and get an understanding of it. So that, I think that's more and more it, like, just go with the structured thinking, and I think people will, like, look at you very differently.
Yes, very true, Ishan. I think most of the students are preparing for CAT exam these days because that provides a very strong career in the field of fintech, digital marketing, or product management. So, what are the top three skills or mindsets that a student should start developing now if they want to make a mark in this field?
So if you're saying that I think most of them are studying for CAT, then I think the first semester when you're going to MBA will be you preparing presentations and making sure that you're downloading some images from online, making sure that you're having a very good looking presentation, taking content from any of the AI platform, maybe now even making pitch decks from an AI platform, right? But more than that, the skill set which comes is that you have to build your brain to answer a lot of things, because most of these LLMs or the AI that you are taking help of even to write your assignments right now will not do any justice when you're actually talking to real world problems or real world, like you're in a war room of real world. See, more you have to understand is that after you're making a pitch deck, don't read from the presentation, don't by heart some things. Just when you're pitching an idea which has been homegrown and like thought from you, maybe make sure that you are doing it in a storytelling format, like pitch properly. If I'm asking anyone, if anyone is asking you to pitch your idea, you should be able to pitch that idea in a very strong and persuasive manner in 30 to 50 seconds, because that's when the person will get convinced that it's coming from a very core from you and it's not some random idea that's taken from an internet, right? And another one thing important is to like you need to understand how data works. Data has something, if you don't know how to work with data or don't know how to use some basic data skill sets, then I think that's one major lack that you might see later on in your career, because data from maybe like how it used to be maintained like 30 years ago is now digitized, but still the way of how we are looking at data still remains the same. So we need to make sure that we are able to read those data, and some if you don't get the data fluency, then you'll not be able to make those any quick fixes for your businesses. So that's I think that those are more important things.
Okay, so you have a very long experience profile in Reliance Security. So I just want to know that can you walk us through a specific project where you had to align multiple departments and teams to achieve a common digital goal?
Right. So maybe I'll
And
not
what
be
kind
able
of the challenges did you face and how did you overcome with them?
See, I might not be able to name any platform specifically because it was a part of my previous organization. But yeah, I would just give a product which is there and I will explain about it. So maybe we were building something for basically the first time investors, right? So when you're talking to someone, it was also my first job at Reliance. So first job at any corporate career. So and I was taking lead of making this platform. We're talking to the first time investors. So the first thing for me was to make a product requirement document. It was the first time when I even heard the name of a PRD, and that's when I googled. I understood what is it, and it had that you have to be aligned with your product team, with your business team, with your tech team, with your legal team, and your marketing team. So that itself confused me to a larger extent because I didn't know how to approach people to get to them, and that's what difficult. So that's when I pitched to my boss at that time to maybe have something like an internal war room. Like even if you are like, because most of these teams you sit at different offices in Mumbai, right? So maybe to have a few point of contacts from each of the teams sitting in one office, and we build this war room for like 45 days or something till the time the product is shipped to the outer world. So that's when the first time this initiation happened. We used to have like every day, two times in a day, about 15 to 20 minute huddle, once in the morning and once in the evening, and just have like a single dashboard being set up. So that's how it was there. The challenges were more about lacking of ownership, but I think that's spread across all organizations because people like I think people are afraid to take ownership of something which is still in a very dicey stage. Once things take success, I think there are a lot of people who will harp on the ownership. But I think when something is still in the building stage or something which has failed, the ownership is something that's always and always I think will persist as a challenge. So yeah, the solution is morely just to have a very specific KPIs listed for most of these people, and also have a central go-to-market plan. Because if you don't have a launch plan in your head, if you don't have a proper roadmap of when and what you want to launch on a Gantt chart, then I think again it becomes very difficult because you keep missing deadlines one after the other.
So I think you have worked in Hyundai Motors, and that is from research and development training to research fellowship on emerging technology. So, and you have seen both hardcore engineering and as well as the business strategy. How has your technical background of this BTech influenced your ability to lead digital product team in finance?
Okay, so it was quite different journey, right? Because when I did, so Hyundai was something. So our internship was supposed to be. This was an internship. It was a 3 month, 2 month, a 3 month internship that we had. But part of my curriculum that I had to do with a automobile company, someone in my sector, because I did my mechanical engineering. right? But what happened was it was a second wave of COVID during that time, so we couldn't manage to get to the field. But this was a project so where we're trying to set up a separate supply chain to make sure that all of our demands for the flywheel parts and everything are met. Okay, so this was actually for the EV segment that we had to do. But unfortunately, we didn't get to visit the plant. Otherwise, I had to be 3 weeks in their plant. So, but then we had a 6 week induction program where they explained everything. So then our role shifted from more from a mechanical, technical background to having more of a dashboard person, where we understood the whole principles of how a car works and how EV is going to like be the next thing. So we built an EV bike as well as a final year project on that. So this helped me get into an understanding of digital business, because that's when the first level of leadership even came to us, right? Because then it was a small group of 4 people who were spread across the geography and rather across the world, who were like 4 people in the program. We were based for serving that specific company supply chain. So that's when we understood about what problems the companies face. And it's not like, even if I'm adding a 10 ml more of a paint on a body shop, so that will affect the costing, and it actually takes a big pain. If you adding another 2 airbags to a car, and what might be the cost benefit analysis that can be done, thinking in mind keeping in mind the safety. So all those things, something maybe propelled me to get into digital business more. And I always were inclined toward capital markets. I've been investing since a long time. So for my personal portfolio, and like not really investing, also just giving a always been a learner for the stock market. So yeah, this was always an inclination been there for my digital business.
Okay, Ishaan, I think we should have some questions related to your leadership style, because you hold the various leadership position in very young age of 21 year or 22 years. So I just want to know that how these leadership role helped you to shape your approach in like problem solving or team building or communication in the corporate world. Did it really help you in your corporate world?
So yeah, definitely. Because see, when you're talking about being part of the council, because even the organization committee of the college also, you might have understood that when you're talking to a person who's a professor, to even talking to the dean, and how you are approaching both of these personalities is too different. Because you might have a special rapport with your professor, but might have a little bit like scared also with your dean, right? Also should persist with the professor as well, but still, but you have some sort of comfort. So how you talk, and like if you're communicating the same, you want to do an event, you want to like get your budget approved, and how you're trying to maybe speak to them is different. Because at the end there is a single owner or who is going to approve the budget, and there's someone who wants to approve the idea. So their idea might be here, the budget might be here, it might not match. So that's when it maybe it teaches you resilience to work with the other people, and from the college, your students, your professors, and to get that everyone on the same board. So that's more of it. In council, the student council that we had, it was more that it taught us about execution and ideation. Because see, most of these things were like literally rolling up our sleeves and getting the job done, right? So that was more of it. And with my startup, it was more about getting an understanding of how to be more resilient and also lead with an authority. Because we everyone at that stage was on remote basis, so we had to make sure that people are also learning, and especially because of them being from cross functional areas, they had to be brought on the same pace to maybe the whole ship to move forward together.
Okay, I think Yashan, we have limited time also. So I will just take up the last question, and then I will invite the audience for their queries. They can write their queries in the chat box, or if they can raise their hands also. So this is what the last question I just want to have, that you have been part of the both startup and corporate ecosystems. So how do you maintain innovation and speed in execution in a structured corporate environment? And what lesson from the startup life have helped you to the most in your current role at Motilal Oswal?
So I think, see, this is important to know, that if you're coming from a startup culture, you are being looked at also very differently. right? And especially me being, I've been the founder of the company, so it was much more different. When you are leading a team by yourself and you don't have anyone to answer to, so you are the end decision maker. So the turnaround time for anything is much quicker. Whereas in corporate, the turnaround time might be higher, so you don't need to. And that's for the right reasons, right? Because the company has grown to right now to being more than 15,000 employees that we have at Motilal Oswal. So it is more about how we are able to make sure that everyone grows with us together. And that's how the turnaround times will be different. But one good thing about the company, one of the good things about Motilal Oswal is that we are always open to ideas. There are so many programs that we do for from the learning and development team that we have, that entrepreneurship is always pushed forward. The ideas we have, like an idea ring that goes up, so anyone and from any department, if they have any idea which will help the organization grow, the company by themselves they'll take it up and they will pull for development. We have leadership programs that go to different colleges like IIMs, IITs, ISPs of the world, wherein the top management people are being sent, and they are also cross-functional and cross-company as well, because Motilal as a group has 7 companies under them. So this is more about for me to understand. I think for me it has never been different, other than the turnaround time. Apart from that, the culture, the fastness of how the company is doing everything has been really up to speed, and we are innovating a lot, which again a corporate this bigger size would not do, rather would be afraid to make those changes. But I think we have that much freedom when we are serving for Motilal Oswal here. So I think that takes up a lot of pressure off our heads.
So thank you, Ishaan, and for providing this wonderful session to these young mindset, and certainly your expertise and the experience will help them in becoming the leader in the corporate sector, and obviously that will also contribute in our GDP of nation. So I invite the audience for their queries. So we have another 10 minutes, so we can have a few queries from the audience, at least 4 or 5 queries we can take up. So, any audience, you can raise your hands. Deepika, you can ask few participants to forward some queries. So I think there is no queries and they are already motivated and inspired by you. So I invite the Deepika or
Maybe if Dhyan wants to say anything, any question from the side of Mr. Dhyan or Professor Mahesh or anyone else, any student or any question they can ask. I think Dhyan has left the meeting or what is there?
Sir, good evening.
Hanji, Hanji. Good evening. Please. Professor Mahesh, yeah, please.
The session was really remarkable, and it was really, worth learning session for all of us. So, first of all, thank you so much, sir, for being the part of the college. And I was listening to you while driving the car. Sir, actually, it was all about digital business. Sir, how and just a simple question. Hello, from the
Yeah,
speaker.
yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, from the speaker. Sir, actually, we all have been talking about AI. We all have been talking about the business in different areas in terms of that is digital business. Sir, is there any future, and the future is the future safe in terms of digital business?
you're talking about AI specifically.
Yeah, I'm talking about I'm talking about the business. Are we safe, or okay? I'm being the specific. Is India ready for digital business?
So see, that's a very broad level question to answer on, because see, most of our businesses have moved to the digital way, right? So most of our companies are now serving people online and are having a different way of how you're communicating with people as well. So if you're taking about as an example of an e-pharmacy, right? So a few years back, Tata 1mg went all out with their strategy of going with e-pharmacy. Now, as a very recent news, what I heard that they want to open around 3,000 odd stores in the next 5 years. And that's again an offline shift, right? So India as a demography will always change its preferences. So when it comes to digital business, it's very difficult to like put a bet on a specific. This will always remain digital. Like you see someone, like again, not giving names of a listed entity. Like if you're having someone who's done well in their space of a last mile delivery, they might not do in the next 1 quarter, so that they have to have multiple line of business also lined up, so that they are, as an overall, they are the revenue don't start to fall down. When you're talking about the safety, I think for I can speak on the broking side, because we, when we are launching any product on broking, we have to take the which I spoke also during the question answer session, that we need to take care of security and the safety of the customer very very strictly, right? Because one thing is, the money doesn't lie with us; it lies with the custodians, right? So we are not the, like, the treasurer of when the money comes in a picture, but we are being as a broker in between the two entities. So we need to make sure that when the money is going from one side to the other, we are able to take care of it, and there is no loss or something that happens. So yeah, before taking any step which is towards an emerging technology, we always make sure that we are at much more ahead of when you're talking about safety.
But sir, in terms of infrastructure, we are not ready with the e-payments.
So, see, e-payments is something now the government is trying to push it to a very different level, right? So, UPI, if you're talking about UPI as a as a space, now UPI also launched something called as UPI Lit, right? So, even when you don't have internet, you are able to send money in an offline mode. So, that's in that sort of sector. I think there are a lot of ministries also which have opened up under the central government, which are able to serve these specific areas in a very detailed manner. Like Startup India in itself was a good initiative, Niti Aayog as well, so Atal incubation centers that have set up across India. So all these are helping us build the infrastructure, and the even the sessions that you're having, I think it's important that the exposure is given to everyone, so they start building the infrastructure like for themselves.
Great, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
So, any other query? Ishaan, I just want to ask the last thing, that can you forward few suggestions in general to our young mindset to become very successful in their career as well as in their life?
You want me to forward something, or I didn't get?
Yes, give some suggestions to these young minds for becoming successful in their career as well as in their life.
See, I might
And
be.
how about your work-life balance
Yeah.
throughout your career?
I think giving career advice, I think everyone has a very different trajectory to for anyone to give career advice. And I think I am also quite young to give someone a career advice. So I think any of the sessions that have gone past, or the sessions that you will be looking forward to, I think they would be much more like eligible to give that as an answer as a career advice, because for me, my career has been very short, long way to go for that. But to answer that, work-life balance, again, as I said in the previous session as well with y'all, that we don't need to look at the clock, right? If you need sleep, go to sleep. If you want to if you want to learn something, learn. If you want to work. Like, but always keep having that hunger within yourself, because if you don't have that, then slowly everything will start dying out. Everything is somewhere linked to money, and everything is also linked somewhere to your health and happiness, right? So if these three things are tying up, I think everything starts falling in place. And the major important thing for this, I think, is that for you to have hunger for anything that you're chasing. So I think if you have that fearlessness attitude for yourself, and you want to achieve something 15 years down the line, like, make that target, set that target into mini targets, and then I think you're off to a good start.
In last few years, number of the suicide cases has been reported just because of not having the work-life balance. So how do you find these things in our society?
So I think that's the most stupid thing that anyone can do, is to take up their own life. because I think you come to the world without you being knowing of it, and you leave the world also without we are not being taken a permission. So I don't think that you should curtail this and take a decision for yourself that you want to end your life. You need to think about the people who are also have brought you up and who are in your circle of things, right? And coming to the work life balance, I think if something is difficult, then quit that thing, but don't quit on something that which was a long cycle for you. Because if you are not happy with the job, there are so many jobs available. You go to LinkedIn right now, you'll see so many jobs which are open to open for you to apply on. Don't think that it's something which are not in your domain. Like I moved from a core technical background to now in a finance and to a strategy role. So it's nothing that is something which is out of your domain. It might just take 2 months of your prep. You can literally resign. You have your 90-day notice. You learn something new, and you obviously are off to another company. So never think that something is taking a stress or something of that sort. Because if you keep yourself lightened enough, do some sporting activity. I still play some of the other kind of sport to keep myself light on my mind. So I think that's something which is important. Like I think it's the most stupid thing for someone to do is to take up your own life.
So thank you, Ishaan Shetty, for being part of this our organization DSPSR and joining this 44th online interactive session on 33rd leadership development programs by corporate member. Now, I request Professor Ajay Singh sir to give any input on this interactive session.
Now, I would like to request Mr. Abhishek Pokhriyal to deliver a vote of thanks.
Good evening.
Avinash, you are not audible. Yeah, it's fine.
Good evening, everyone present here. I'm Avinash, student of PCA, third semester. As we come to and close the enrichment 44th online interaction session organized under the Leadership Development Program at the Delhi School of Professional Research and Studies. It's my grateful honor and responsibility to deliver the vote and thanks. First and foremost, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our session speaker, Mr. Ishaan Shetty, sir, Association Vice President, Digital Business, Motilal Oswal, Financial Services, for taking time out of our busy schedule to enlighten us with our remarkable journey and profession insights. Your words Your works and involved digital strategy and leadership have left the deeply inspired and better informed about the evolving world of finance and technology. We are equally grateful to our distinguished moderator, Professor Rajnikant Verma sir, for so gracefully guiding and discussing and adding immense academic depth to the session. Your presence and moderating engagement, the learning experience, and help us learn maximum value from the dialogues. A special note of appreciating to Honorable Senior Professor Ajay Kumar Singh sir, respected Director Professor Dr. Mahesh Sharma sir, and respected Dhyan T.S. Chauhan sir for their constant guidance, encouragement, and support in organizing such meaningful learning platform for students. I also extend my sincere thanks to all the faculty member, technical team, and student coordinators who worked diligently behind the scene and made the event seamless and impactful. To all the students and participants, thank you for enthusiastic presence and active involvement. It is curiosity and engagement that make the session or too successful. Last but certainly not least, we thank for Delhi School of Professional Research and Studies for continuously fostering a culture of leadership, learning, and excellence. Thanks again.
Thank you, Ishaan sir and Rajnikant sir, for joining us today's session.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.